The birth of a new era. In the beginning, the universe was a vast and mysterious expanse, a canvas of endless dark, scattered with stars that twinkled like diamonds, each one unique and radiant in its own way. Time itself seemed to move slowly, and all was in perfect balance. On a planet called Earth, life flourished in harmony with the natural world. It was a world of unimaginable beauty, where the rolling hills met oceans of crystal-clear water, where towering forests stood proudly in rivers, rich in life, snaked through every corner of the land. It was a paradise, a gift from the Creator, an intricate masterpiece carefully sculpted to maintain peace and balance. At the heart of this world, the Creator, known by all as our God, watched over His creation with infinite love and compassion. In His wisdom, He decided to make beings who would inhabit this world, beings that would share in the wonder of creation and reflect His own image. These beings would be free from fear and strife. They would live in peace, in a world where there was no need for conflict, no hunger, and no suffering. This was the way He intended it to be, and for a long time, His creation was perfect. The earth was abundant with life. Every tree, every flower, every blade of grass was designed to thrive. The air was rich with nutrients, and the sun, a great orb of light, shone with warmth, nurturing the land and all that dwelled on it. The creatures of the world, each unique in form and nature, lived together in perfect harmony. Birds sang in the trees, animals roamed the plains, and fish swam gracefully in the oceans. Each being had its role, and they understood it well. They lived in peace, without the need for violence or greed. The Creator's greatest gift, however, was to humankind. Unlike the other creatures, humans were endowed with intellect, the ability to reason, to wonder, and to imagine. They were given the power to shape their world, to understand it, and to evolve beyond what was known. They were granted knowledge and creativity, the tools to mold their surroundings and to reach for the stars. In the beginning, the humans lived simply. They enjoyed the fruits of their labor, harvesting from the earth, and living in balance with nature. They did not need to strive for survival. The world provided all they could ever want. There was no hunger, no war, and no desire for anything more than what the earth graciously offered. The air they breathed was sweet and fresh, and the water they drank was pure. The sky above was clear, and the stars seemed to guide their way, always watching over them. But as time passed, a strange feeling began to stir within the hearts of the humans. The peace that had once felt infinite began to feel stagnant. They began to ask questions. What is beyond the horizon? What lies in the stars? What else is out there in the vastness of the universe? They had everything they needed, yet their curiosity began to awaken, pushing them to seek answers to questions they had never thought to ask before. It started small. Some began to wonder about the nature of the stars. Others started to experiment with tools, shaping rocks and sticks into useful instruments. Over time, the humans developed more complex technologies, discovering fire, inventing the wheel, and creating the first forms of writing. As they made these advancements, they began to see the world in new ways, and their desire for knowledge grew stronger. It wasn't long before the humans reached the limits of their world. They had explored the lands, the oceans, and the skies, and still they were left with the pressing question: what lies beyond the earth? With the gift of intellect, they began to imagine a future where they could reach beyond their home planet, where they could touch the stars. The first idea of space travel was born in their minds, and with it came a new determination to push the boundaries of what they thought was possible. The first steps toward exploration were slow. It took centuries of research and trial and error before they were able to build the machines that would one day take them into the cosmos. They built small vessels that could lift off the ground. Then they developed larger ships capable of crossing the sky. They studied the stars, mapping constellations, and learning the secrets of the universe. With each new discovery, they grew more confident in their ability to venture further and further from Earth. Then, in a moment that would forever change the course of human history, the humans achieved the impossible. After centuries of effort, they launched their first spacecraft beyond the atmosphere, leaving Earth behind. The first humans who journeyed into space saw their home from a distance, a beautiful, fragile blue orb suspended in the blackness of space. It was a sight that no one could have fully prepared for, a moment of awe and wonder that filled them with a sense of accomplishment and purpose. But this was just the beginning. The humans had cracked open the door to the universe, and now they were free to explore it. As they began to colonize nearby planets, they encountered new worlds with strange and wondrous landscapes, but they also found dangers they could never have anticipated. In the vast expanse of space, the unknown lurked at every corner. And soon, the humans realized that their journey into the stars would not be as peaceful as they had hoped. Though they were proud of their achievements, the humans soon discovered that their newfound power came with unforeseen consequences. The world they had left behind, the Earth that had once been a sanctuary of peace, seemed distant now. As they looked out into the stars, they found themselves facing the harsh reality of space. It was vast, unfeeling, and full of challenges that no one had expected. And yet, despite the hardships, the humans pressed on, driven by the same curiosity and determination that had once led them to explore their own world. For the first time in their existence, the humans were forced to confront the unknown, to rise to challenges beyond anything they had faced before. And while the Earth remained a place of peace and tranquility, the humans realized that their true journey had just begun. The universe was vast, full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. They would have to be brave, inventive, and resourceful if they were to survive in the new, unfamiliar world they had entered. As they ventured deeper into the cosmos, the humans encountered alien races, some peaceful, some hostile. They formed alliances with others, and soon the humans realized that they were no longer alone in the universe. They had become part of something much larger than themselves, an interconnected web of life and discovery, of conflict and cooperation. And as they navigated this new and unfamiliar world, they carried with them the hope that, no matter the challenges they faced, they would always remain true to their spirit of curiosity, creativity, and resilience. The journey had just begun, and the fate of humanity would be shaped by the choices they made in this new, endless frontier. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. They were explorers, adventurers, gladiators in the grand arena of the universe, and the story of their struggle, their ingenuity, and their strength had only just begun. The Galactic Arena. As humanity looked out into the cosmos, they felt a sense of both wonder and anxiety. They had left Earth, their cradle, behind, embarking on an adventure far beyond their ancestors' wildest dreams. Yet the universe they had entered was not as peaceful as they had hoped. The stars, once a symbol of hope and curiosity, now seemed to conceal a much darker truth. The further humanity journeyed, the more they realized they were not alone in the vast expanse of space. There were civilizations far older than their own, civilizations that had risen and fallen over millennia, each with their own ambitions, struggles, and histories. And these civilizations, the Galactic Alliance, had been watching Earth for centuries. The Galactic Alliance was not a single race, but rather a vast coalition of different species, united under a common goal: control and dominance over the universe. It was a society built on the principles of power, wealth, and the pursuit of superiority. The alliance consisted of some of the most advanced and ruthless races in the galaxy, beings who had conquered entire star systems, subjugated countless species, and indulged in the cruelest of games for entertainment. The members of the alliance saw themselves as the ultimate rulers of the universe, their technological prowess unmatched by any other. For centuries, the humans were viewed by the alliance as an interesting anomaly. Earth had always been a planet of peace, with the humans themselves possessing an incredible capacity for innovation and adaptability. But the Alliance had a very different view of humanity than the humans had of themselves. To them, Earth was simply another battleground in the never-ending war for dominance, and the humans were nothing more than potential gladiators, tools to be used in their grand cosmic arena. The leaders of the Galactic Alliance had grown bored of their constant conquests. Their world, full of technological marvels and political intrigue, was increasingly dull. The thrill of victory, once exhilarating, had faded. What they craved now was entertainment. And what better entertainment could there be than to watch the rise and fall of a young and curious species, caught in the midst of a battle for survival? The humans, with their intelligence, ingenuity, and relentless drive, would make perfect gladiators in the most epic of arenas. In the shadows of the Alliance, a plan was set into motion. It was subtle at first, manipulating resources, disrupting human technologies, and sowing seeds of confusion. But as the human colonies grew, so did the scope of the Alliance's designs. They began to send ships to the outer reaches of space, deliberately interfering with the expansion of human colonies. The attacks were small at first, disabling communications, stealing resources, and sabotaging trade routes, but they grew in intensity over time. The humans were too busy managing their new colonies and technologies to realize that they were already being observed by something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The galactic arena was not a physical structure. It was the entirety of the universe itself. The vast reaches of space would serve as the playing field, and the beings of the Alliance would be the spectators. The humans, with their potential for greatness and their thirst for knowledge, would be the gladiators. They would be tested in ways they could never have imagined. Their resolve, their creativity, and their ability to survive would be put to the ultimate test. And the galaxy would watch, waiting to see if they could overcome the challenges that lay ahead or fall into oblivion. It wasn't long before the first real confrontation took place. A fleet of sleek, black ships appeared out of nowhere, surrounding a human colony that had recently been established on a distant planet. The humans had no idea what to make of the strange vessels that suddenly appeared in their orbit. At first, they thought it was some sort of misunderstanding or perhaps a miscommunication with a distant ally. But when the ships began to fire, unleashing powerful beams of energy that decimated their defense systems, it became painfully clear that they were under attack. The humans fought back with all their might, but they were woefully unprepared for the advanced technology of the Alliance. Their weapons were no match for the sleek ships and their hyper-advanced weapon systems. The humans had barely begun to understand space warfare, let alone the terrifying capabilities of their enemies. In the blink of an eye, entire cities on the planet were reduced to rubble, and millions of innocent lives were lost in the chaos. The Galactic Alliance, however, showed no mercy. They were not concerned with the fate of the human colonies. This was merely the beginning of a far greater game. The Alliance was testing the humans, seeing how they would react under pressure, how they would adapt to the horrors of war. For the Alliance, this was just another trial, one more test to determine whether humanity had the strength to survive in the arena. The humans, stunned by the devastation they had just witnessed, quickly rallied to defend their people. The resistance began to grow, and what had once been a peaceful species now found itself at war. But what the humans lacked in technology, they made up for with ingenuity. They were not content to simply defend themselves. They would find a way to fight back. It was in their nature. They had always been creative, always able to find solutions to problems that others could not. As the humans began to rebuild and regroup, they realized that their survival was not just a matter of fighting off invaders. It was about understanding the true nature of their enemies. The Galactic Alliance was not a mere collection of advanced civilizations. It was a society driven by entertainment, power, and cruelty. To the Alliance, humans were nothing more than pawns in a game, gladiators meant to be thrown into the arena for the amusement of the galaxy. But the humans were beginning to see through this facade. They were learning about the forces that controlled the galaxy and the true nature of their struggle. The humans began to forge alliances with other alien races, those who were oppressed by the tyranny of the Alliance. They'd reached out to those who had suffered at the hands of the powerful civilizations that made up the Galactic Alliance. Some races had been enslaved for centuries, their cultures and identities erased. These beings saw the potential in humanity, recognizing the same spark of resistance in them that had fueled their own struggles for freedom. The resistance movement grew stronger. The humans were not alone anymore. They had become the symbol of hope for the oppressed races of the galaxy, a rallying point for those who had long been subjected to the whims of the powerful. And though they still faced overwhelming odds, the humans refused to back down. They knew that the fight ahead would be difficult, but they also understood something the Alliance had failed to realize. They were not just gladiators. They were a species capable of changing the course of history. As the first battles against the Galactic Alliance unfolded, humanity began to surprise its enemies. The gladiators of Earth, armed with nothing more than their creativity, resilience, and unyielding spirit, had begun to turn the tide. The Alliance had underestimated them. And now, for the first time, it was the humans who were striking fear into the hearts of the galaxy's most powerful beings. The arena was set, and the fight for survival had only just begun. The humans, with their hearts full of determination and hope, were ready to prove that they were more than just pawns in a cosmic game. They were the gladiators of the future, and they would not be easily defeated. The galactic arena was about to witness the rise of a new force, one that would change the balance of power in the universe forever. The Gladiators' Call. The days following the invasion were a blur of chaos and confusion. Humanity had been forced into a war they were not prepared for, an unexpected battle against an enemy far more advanced than they could have ever anticipated. The Galactic Alliance had orchestrated the first strike, not out of pure malice, but for the sheer thrill of testing the new species in their arena. And in this cruel game, the humans, once explorers of the stars, had become mere gladiators, fighting for survival in an ever-looming cosmic spectacle. The first real taste of war was not a simple skirmish. It was a catastrophe, a loss of life on a scale never before seen by humanity. Cities fell in a matter of hours, reduced to rubble by the unrelenting assault of the Alliance's superior forces. The once proud colonies, built with the sweat and dreams of thousands of human pioneers, now lay in ruin. The invaders' ships were sleek, their weapons unlike anything the humans had ever encountered. They were equipped with energy pulses capable of disabling even the most advanced human technology, and their hyper-fast fleet could arrive and strike before any warning could be given. But despite the overwhelming odds, the humans did not fall into despair. They did not cower in fear, for that was not the way of Earth. Humanity was defined by resilience, by the ability to adapt and overcome adversity. And this, the first test of their strength, was only the beginning. The humans, though stunned by the loss, began to regroup, rallying under new leadership and a growing sense of unity. In the aftermath of the invasion, Earth's surviving colonies went dark. Communication systems were crippled, and information became scarce. Yet, even in the darkest moments, small pockets of resistance began to form. These were not large armies, but groups of soldiers, scientists, and civilians united by the singular purpose of survival. Among them, there emerged leaders, individuals who would guide humanity through its darkest hour. One of the most important of these was Commander Alex Monroe, a young and brilliant strategist whose insight into both human nature and military tactics would prove invaluable. Alex had been a part of the initial exploration team sent to establish colonies on distant planets. Her experience in the early days of interstellar travel made her uniquely qualified to understand the true nature of the enemy. She had studied the cultures and histories of countless species, and she knew that the Galactic Alliance wasn't just a collection of powerful nations. It was a brutal, power-hungry regime. In her eyes, the humans were nothing more than pawns, gladiators thrown into a pit for the amusement of their captors. But Alex also knew that the Alliance had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back, to adapt to any challenge thrown their way. Humans were not just survivors, they were innovators, capable of seeing problems from angles others could not. And if they were to survive, they would need to harness this strength and channel it into a unified resistance that would strike fear into the hearts of the most powerful species in the galaxy. The first step in the Resistance's rise was reclaiming control over what was left of humanity's communication infrastructure. Using a combination of military force and creative thinking, the Resistance managed to capture one of the Alliance's communication relays. This was a game-changing victory. It allowed humanity to reconnect with one another across the vast distances of space. Though the communications were still limited, it gave the humans something they had lost in the wake of the attack: hope. This victory sparked a wave of inspiration across the human colonies. Messages of encouragement and solidarity spread quickly through the network. Humans who had once believed themselves powerless in the face of the overwhelming might of the Galactic Alliance now found strength in each other. New alliances were forged with other races, those who had once suffered under the thumb of the Alliance, and soon the humans found themselves not only fighting for survival, but also rallying others to their cause. The first major counterattack was launched by a coalition of human colonies on a remote planet, one that had been struck early in the war. It was a place that had once seemed insignificant to the Alliance, just another quiet world in a distant corner of the galaxy. But to the humans, it was everything. It was their first chance to show the Alliance that they would not be easily defeated. Armed with a blend of scavenged technology, brilliant new inventions, and raw human determination, the human forces launched a daring raid against one of the Alliance's outposts. The battle was brutal and unforgiving. The human forces had only basic weapons and old defenses, but they fought with the heart and soul of a species that refused to be beaten. The Resistance struck fast and hard, using their knowledge of the terrain and the element of surprise to their advantage. They weren't just soldiers. They were guerrilla fighters, hackers, engineers, and scientists, all united by a singular purpose: to prove to the Galactic Alliance that humanity was not to be underestimated. The fight was not without cost. Many lives were lost in the battle, and the humans had to endure great sacrifices. But their victory was a powerful message to the Alliance. The Gladiators were rising, and they would not go down without a fight. The news of their success spread quickly across the galaxy, and the once untouchable Alliance found themselves facing a new, unpredictable enemy. As the humans regrouped and built their strength, they began to realize that their survival in the galactic arena would not just depend on their ability to fight. It would depend on their creativity, their resourcefulness, and their ability to unite as one. The Alliance had been playing a game, a cruel spectacle for their amusement. But the humans were not playing the same game. They had come to understand that the arena was not just a battleground. It was a place where the stakes were higher than any of them had ever imagined. The fate of their species would depend on how well they could adapt to the game, how they could turn the tables on their oppressors. As the Resistance grew in strength and numbers, Alex Monroe found herself at the heart of a movement that was not only fighting for survival, but for something more: freedom. She knew that if humanity was to survive, they would have to confront not just the Alliance's military might, but the dark forces that controlled it. The galactic arena was not just a physical place. It was a system of oppression, a network of power and manipulation that reached into every corner of the galaxy. The Alliance had ruled through fear and control, but the humans were beginning to unravel their grip. The next phase of humanity's rise would not be easy. The Alliance was relentless, and they had vast resources at their disposal. But Alex and her fellow leaders knew that the only way forward was to continue to fight, to push back with every ounce of their strength. The Gladiators of Earth would face countless trials, and they would fall again and again. But with each fall, they would rise stronger, more determined than ever to prove that they were more than just tools in a cosmic game. They were humans, and they would fight for their freedom, no matter the cost. The call to arms had been sounded. The Gladiators were ready, and the galactic arena was about to see the true strength of humanity. The war for survival had only just begun.